is up, YouTube? My name is Mario, aka the Loot Box Hero. Check out the second channel, because the second channel is popping, aka the real Super Mario here, bringing you another Pokemon and assorted news video. Alright, so we got some interesting stuff to talk about today. So we have more from the big Pokemon Teraleak. We have some more of that, as well as some stuff has come out of there. We've got some information about what really happened with Legends Arceus and BDSP. We have some information on Generation 10 and Legends ZA. There is a lot of scrapped, stuff from Pokemon games, stuff that they planned on doing, but they either didn't have time or they didn't have the tech or resources to execute it. We have a lot of that, as well as a cut mega, the only mega evolution to ever get cut. As well as some non-Pokemon related stuff, because there's like from the leaks we've gotten some Switch 2 stuff, as well as just some non-Nintendo stuff altogether we're going to talk about today. So of course, if you want to continue getting videos like this from me, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button, do all that good stuff that YouTube requires you to do to continue getting videos from me. Follow me on twitter.com/RSMario128. Like my video tweet, share my video tweet, and I will shout you out of this portion of the video. As well as I'm going to start a new segment where I answer one of the comments, or a couple of the comments from the comment section on video. So if you want to do that, if you want to go ahead and drop your comments down, it's starting today. So the comments from today's video might get answered on the next video. So, I'm going to do that. So go ahead and drop your comments down below and you might get answered on video, But yeah, let's get on into this. So, covering more stuff from the leak, we have Legends Arceus. So, this is some of the more interesting stuff from the leak. Centro says Pokemon Legends Arceus was designed to attract a different demographic to the Pokemon Core series. They specifically mentioned that they wanted to attract core gamers to the franchise. So, essentially, what this is the method that Nintendo kind of uses, where they would make a spin-off game that's different from the main game in order to try to attract a different audience and try to pull them into the core audience. And so that's what Legends Arceus was trying to do. That's why Legends Arceus was so different. That's why they streamlined it so much and they removed the abilities and basically just hollowed out the combat system, because they were trying to appeal to core gamers that were not Pokemon gamers. So, that explains a lot as to why Legends Arceus is the way it is. So, I feel like I'm going to have to do that video. I'm going to have to compile all of my thoughts on Legends Arceus one day in a video just to explain how I feel, because I have very mixed feelings about Legends Arceus, a couple years after the fact, So another thing about the whole Gen 4 remake thing, Gamefreak decided early on that they were not going to do a DP remake. Seems like they backtracked at the very last moment and hired Ilka, probably because of the delay, because Legends Arceus was delayed. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't think this is true. I don't think they brought in Ilka to do BDSP because of the delay of Legends Arceus. I think they brought in Ilka to do a remake, specifically BDSP, because they didn't think Legends Arceus was going to work. All right, I think that's what it was. Because remember, now that we know Legends Arceus is not supposed to be for core Pokemon gamers, and it's supposed to be for core gamers that aren't Pokemon fans, I believe that they didn't think that was going to work. And so they wanted something that would work. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, what is more safe than just taking the game that everybody liked in Generation 4 and just updating it? that's the safest possible bet you could do. And it kind of turned on them. But it kind of makes sense as to why BDSP was the way it was. You know, because it was meant to be this anchor to keep things anchored while they tried something different with Legends Arceus. And it makes perfect sense, to be honest. All right, so speaking of Legends, we've got some Legends ZA information. So just a little bit. Now, the reason why Legends ZA hasn't been getting a lot of information is because the leaker is not going to leak the game. All right, the leaker said that they weren't going to leak the game. They said that they played the game. They said the game was enjoyable, but they already said that they weren't going to leak it. So the little bit of information we got is kind of what we got. So Central Pokemon Leaks says Pokemon Legends ZA Leaks Part 2. Stunfisk is in the game. The shiny sound from PLA is back. So the shiny sound that you hear when there's a shiny Pokemon near you is back. And the leaker says the game is very enjoyable, even with the lag, because he's playing a older build of Legends ZA. He says the leaker is not planning to release any more details about the game. Now, this particular thing, I think, has been kind of disproven by Riddler Q. So Riddler Q actually came out and said that the leaker has dropped stuff privately. So on some private Discord server somewhere, there is Legends ZA information. So, you know. So then, speaking of Riddler Q, we go to Riddler Q. So he says, new hint for a new project hint too. You knew its code name today from you know where, Too Much Water. So basically, this is a Generation 10 hint saying that it's going to be an island-based region, which I'm getting Gen 7 flashbacks. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the island thing. All right, you know, look, here's the thing. If I can move freely between the islands, that'll be fine. But if I gotta do like some mini game, or I can't just get on a boat and go from island to island, I'm gonna be mad. Yeah, I hate it. All right, but so yeah, it looks like we're gonna go back to an island-based region. Some people are saying that it's gonna be like Indonesia. So I actually plan on doing a video where I've got 5 regions, 5 places I think that Gen 10 is going to take place. Of course, it's changed now since we got more information, but that's a video that's coming out hopefully this week, but you know. So the next thing is like features and like evolution methods that got cut. And I think some of these are actually pretty cool. Like this one is real region Pokemon. So create Pokemon that change color based on the current location. Information from Wi-Fi, basically different forms. Enhancing the enjoyment of collecting Pokemon from various locations. So basically, when you connect to different Wi-Fi connections, you know what I'm saying, you could get different forms of Pokemon. I actually think that this is probably what they were going to do with the butterfly that's got all the different forms. I think that's probably what they were going to do with them. The other thing is, I think they scrapped this because, one, it would probably take too many design resources to design that many forms. And 2, you don't always want people connecting to public Wi-Fi because public Wi-Fi is not exactly safe. All right. You know, unless you've got like a VPN. No, I don't have a VPN sponsor because I'm not a big boy YouTuber like that. But one day though, one of these days, we're gonna get some sponsors though. But yeah, it's an interesting idea, but it didn't pan out. Different evolution types in ROM. So a Pokemon caught in your country evolves into a species unique to another country when you take it there or trade it via communication. I think this is a really interesting idea. It's like regional forms in real life, which, I mean, it's a pretty interesting idea, but, I mean, then people are going to get kind of mad, like, well, why does the form for this country suck? You know what I'm saying? You know, and people who don't, like, maybe people who don't have access to internet, they're just kind of screwed because they can't really get any other forms, you know, or people who don't travel. Like, I don't travel to different countries, so I will probably never be able to get these Pokemon other than trading over the internet. Varied Pokemon patterns, so big Pokemon patterns and colors somewhat random. Incorporate more elements like Spinda and shiny Pokemon, so everyone has different Pokemon. I think this is cool, but I think it ruins the coolness of shiny Pokemon if everybody has something unique. The whole point of shiny Pokemon is that, oh snap, it's rare. But if there's so many different variations that it's not rare anymore, it just doesn't make sense. All right, so then we get to the Switch 2 stuff. So there's a little bit of Switch 2 information in here because, of course, some of these projects like Gen 10, possibly ZA, are Switch 2 games. So Centro says Ounce, which is the code name for Switch 2, seems to use the same tools and ROM format Nintendo currently uses for Switch 1 ROMs, which are NSPs. But obviously, they have new encryption keys that only Nintendo has. So they're using the similar ROM system, and a lot of people are saying that this confirms backwards compatibility, which, I mean, to be honest, to me, backwards compatibility wasn't really an issue. That was something that was gonna happen. Like they weren't going to make a system that wasn't compatible with the Switch. There's no way they would just throw away the install base and the library of the Switch on a new system. That's insane. Okay, they didn't even do that with the Wii U. Okay. All right, they didn't even do that with the Wii U. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, they could have just port these games over, but even Nintendo is not like that strategic when it comes to business. All right, that feels like if EA was making consoles, they would do that. They would purposely leave them people out in the cold so that they can port those games and make you buy them again. Nah. Nintendo will be crazy to not do backwards compatibility. So, but this does kind of confirm that. Now, the thing is, does this confirm that Switch 2 emulation will be as easy as Switch 1 emulation? That's the kicker. So we have Necro. So Necro is a somewhat reliable source of information when it comes to Switch 2. He says, there are people much better at this than me, but I took a chance on Corel to give you an idea of what the Switch 2 dock would be like. I'm an amateur, but I'm anxious. So he draws this, and it doesn't look that bad, honestly. But basically, so it looks like a Switch dock, but it's got like a curve on the back. So more than likely, this is probably like a cooling system, or maybe it does have like some extra memory or some extra tech in there to make the games look better when it's in dock mode. You know, or it could have some other kind of features with it. But I think it looks kind of cool, though. I'm going to be honest. It looks more high-tech, you know what I'm saying, than the regular dock. All right, so we get to the non-Pokemon stuff. So we have discussing film. They say Insomniac has no additional story content planned for Spider-Man 2. Now, I wanted to talk about this mainly because I had an amazing idea for Spider-Man. And it feels like Marvel continues to botch Spider-Man like crazy. Not even Marvel. This is Sony. Because Sony owns Spider-Man. And they're continuing to botch this property like crazy. All right. So they have no DLC for Spider-Man 2. They have all these plot points left open. It's kind of dumb. All right. And not only that, they also retired Peter after 1.5 games and replaced him with Miles, which is what everybody thought they were trying to do in the first place. I think this is dumb. I think this is dumb, to be honest. I think they had the opportunity to have one of the biggest money-making machines in gaming. Just imagine this, right? Imagine if they didn't retire Peter, all right, and Miles he graduated high school and went off to college in, say, another city. Let's say Seattle. You know what I'm saying? Because Spider-Man on the Space Needle, like, that's box art material right there. Come on now. But yeah, let's say he goes to Seattle that this gives him the opportunity to create his own stories, his own villains, his own side characters. He gets to have his own thing, and then Peter gets to continue being Spider-Man since he's only been Spider-Man for a game and a half, instead of having to go off to freaking couples counseling with his girlfriend or wife or whatever she is now. You have 2 Spider-Man games. You could Call of Duty this sucker, bro. You could get 2 teams at Insomniac, 1 team that is the Miles team, 1 team that is the Peter team. And they are just doing Spider-Man games. And just check out this business model. You get Spider-Man 2, right? Next year, DLC. Next year, last DLC. All right, so that's 3 years for that game. And then you release the Miles game, right? Because, you know, Miles, he left. He's doing his own thing. So, Miles game. And then that same year that you release the Miles game, you release Spider-Man 2 on PC. Which, Spider-Man 2 still got legs. And then, next year, Miles DLC. And next year, Miles DLC. And then, next year after that, new Peter game. And the same year as the new Peter game, you put Miles on PC. Bro, this is a constant money printing machine. And they just killed it. I can't, bro. All right, so we go right on into the coverage. So from the leaks, we have the only cut evolution, the only cut mega evolution ever. So all the other megas actually succeeded, with the exception of maybe Flygon. I guess Flygon. I don't know if you can count Flygon as a cut mega, but this mega intended to be a thing and was cut at some point late in the process because there's actual resources to prove that it exists. So, Central Mega Jinx was confirmed as a cut mega in X and Y. It had Magic Guard as its ability. So, I can kind of see that. Ice Psychic with Magic Guard. I can totally see that. Now, we have more proof that you know, Jinx was real. So, this was an old data mine from when Pokemon Home came out. And this was from Matt. It says, let's start with some of my findings with Pokemon Home. Mysteriously, within the app's sound directory data exists a cry similar to Jinx's. In the video, the first cry played is Jinx's, and the second is unknown. It sounds like the same reverb a Mega Evolution would have. So essentially, basically, that would have been the cry for Mega Jinx, you know. So yeah, so looks like this is real. But so of course, I mean, if you don't know the situation with Jinx, then you wouldn't really understand why Mega Jinx got cut. So years ago, back in I believe the 90s or the early 2000s, there was a children's author, a black female children's author, and she got mad because her kids wanted Pokemon stuff for Christmas, and they didn't necessarily pay a great deal of attention to her work. And so she saw Jinx, you know, in the Pokédex, and decided to make a racial thing out of it. She tried to get Pokemon canceled, I guess is the way you would classify it now. So she wanted to make a racial thing out of this. She wanted to say that Jinx was a racial stereotype, when in actuality Jinx is more connected to Japanese culture than it is to anything in America. So Jinx was actually based off of Gyaru girls. So Gyaru girls were based off of a old Japanese subculture from back in the early 90s that was basically supposed to run counter to normal Asian beauty standards of, you know, making yourself, you know, lightening your skin, being very prim and proper and very submissive. Whereas Gyaru girls were very outgoing. They like to club, like to go party, and they like to darken their skin. And that was what Jinx was based off of. But of course, you know, how can you expect an American children's author to know that? You know, and she's not going to do the research. She's just going to go off of what she sees. and the opportunity she has, because, you know, she has a chance to get at Pokemon, and so that's basically what she did. But, you know, the way, whenever something comes down to race in America, it usually gets really weird really fast. So they changed Jinx' color. So Jinx was originally black and not purple. They changed her to purple so she wouldn't be, you know, looking like the racist caricatures in America. And then that's it. Jinx is now persona non grata, like Porygon. Okay, all right. Porygon and Jinx will never get like alternate forms or like megas, like gigantic. They're never gonna get any of that because there have been issues with those Pokemon. They're allowed to exist, but that's it. All right, because we all know what happened with Porygon back in the day. Okay, all right, Porygon was catching bodies. Okay, so we know why he's persona non grata, but Jinx is persona non grata because people saw her as a racial stereotype. And so that's more than likely why they cut her mega. Because having a mega Jinx and would have brought attention to Jinx, which would have brought the controversy back up again. Tell me what you think in the comments. And remember, I might shout your comment out in the next video. So, you know, I'm watching you. All right. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, people, keep it real. And thank you if you stayed to the end of the video.